It's that time again where another snapshot is out, and this one is 20W48A. And this one is a pretty sharp and exciting one, so I hope you guys are excited because I sure am. Without any further ado, let's get started Now this snapshot introduces one new feature, which are the two blocks right here. Now this is just the new feature. There's still a whole lot hidden behind those and a couple of technical changes which we're going to go through in a moment after we're done with these. But we're going to start with the exciting parts, which are the two new blocks right here. We have the pointed dripstone and the dripstone block. Now these two blocks are very unique blocks from any other block, except for the dripstone block. To be honest, this dripstone block is quite normal, just a block with a really awesome texture. Actually, I'm really fond of this texture, and yeah, I'm also really fond of everything happening right here with the dripstone. Now for the dripstone block, let's cover it up real quickly. It's just a normal block, as I said, with a really amazing texture, which I'm fond of personally. And you can find these blocks in the new cave biomes, which are not out yet. That's how you're going to be able to obtain them. And just a quick little side note, these can be mined with a wooden pickaxe that has been tested out. And the same thing applies with the pointed dripstone. It can be mined with a wooden pickaxe. Now in between cuts, I have put up these two signs right here. We've got the stalactite and the stalagmite, and the reason I put up the signs is that to remind me that that pointed dripstone going placed upwards, so placed on top of a block and then going upwards, is called a stalagmite, and then placed at the bottom of a block going downwards is called a stalactite. Now that is just how their terminological names work, or whatever. I don't really know how to describe it, but that is a thing now. So yeah, upside down is, wait, yeah, from bottom, but no, from top to bottom is called a stalactite, and from bottom to top is called a stam. I don't really know. I'm just gonna call them the pointed dripstone, as they are actually called in game. So the pointed dripstone comes with many properties and many new game mechanics added to the game, and how about we get to them right this moment. If we fly right down here, we've got a bit of a setup going on. Now we're gonna start with the left side because it's the most time consuming. We're gonna quickly cover that up. So basically what's happening here is that the pointed dripstone can now take take liquids, take drips from liquids separated by one block. So if there is a water source right here, so like there is a block separating the water source and the stalactite, I think, I don't know, but yeah, what's supposed to happen is that the stalactite can soak up the water. Of course, the water won't go away, and will actually drip it down. And if the stalactite drips down water from a water source block, it's gonna be able to fill down the cauldron. Same thing applies with lava. Now the stalactite does not have to go right down into the cauldron. You can have a gap between them, and the same thing will happen. I've seen a couple of drips of lava come down into the cauldron, but I haven't really seen the cauldron fill up that much. Maybe because I'm that impatient, but yeah, it just takes a long time, and I'm not really gonna wait for it to happen. So theoretically, we're just gonna say that it has worked, and what's gonna happen is that eventually the cauldron is gonna get filled up. Also, by the way, that means that lava is now renewable, so now you don't have to risk your life going to the nether to get some lava. That's amazing! So I just found out something. Apparently, that technique, that setup only works with lava for the dripstone. So if I add in more dripstone, this setup is gonna work. There's a lava block over a block which has a pointed stalactite, no, pointed dripstone underneath it. These names are so confusing. You have a lava separated by a block which has a pointed dripstone underneath it. Now this setup is going to work, but for the water, there's actually a different technique to it. You can actually waterlog the pointed dripstone. So, oh wait, oh yeah, there's a block here. That's why. Okay, that makes more sense. So as I was saying, you can actually waterlog the pointed dripstone, and that's gonna speed up the process of it filling up. I've realized that there are a lot more drips, like water drips. As you can see, there are a lot more drips with stalactites being waterlogged, and I'm gonna try something that might cause a mess. I'm gonna remove the barrier blocks we have right here. And ooh, that actually works. So you can have floating water in waterlogged pointed dripstones, which can make water in a cauldron. That's actually a pretty cool thing. I just noticed that. That's gonna be fun to play with. Anyways, it's time for us to get on with the next section. Now, there's a lot to cover in this section. Doesn't seem like much, but there is a lot of logic behind it. So keep your minds up open. We're gonna start off slow, and we're gonna start off by picking up the contents of this chest, which is a trident. The reason behind that is because I'm going to show you two things. First of all, if I throw the trident on the pointed dripstone, look what happens. The pointed dripstone breaks, and the pointed dripstone also falls down, and the rest breaks and and turns into items. So let me do that once more time. Let's try throw it in the center of this pointed dripstone. So throw in the center. As you can see, there's a really cool animation. It turns into an entity kind of, and yeah, if it falls down to the ground, it breaks and it can be turned into items. And that is one hell amazing way to collect these blocks. So if you don't want to pile up, and so like let's imagine you're in the new biome and you want to get some of the pointed dripstone from up on the roof, you don't have to pile up. All you gotta do is get your trident and throw it on that bad boy. It's all gonna break down and fall right into your inventory. And I'm pretty sure that also works for, yep, that also works for stalactites, is it? I don't really remember, but yeah, that happens. Next up, we have the feature of the dripstone for it to cause damage. So if I go in survival mode real quickly and give myself some a pickaxe, because I didn't do that. If I get myself a diamond pickaxe, why not, and try to at least aim it on the top. So if I mine this down, okay, that did not work. uh Okay, yeah, that worked. So what I did basically is that I broke the pretty much the top block of the stalactites and stood right underneath it. What that basically does, as we've seen before, makes all the dripstone drop. But what the second thing it can do is it actually causes damage to you. So let me try that one more time. So break the top block and let it fall on me, and yeah, we get some damage. But since I'm in peaceful mode, I heal pretty much immediately. So that's a cool thing. It also does damage to entities. So if I get a zombie and put him right here. Oh yeah, we're in peaceful mode. Hold on. Okay, easy mode. Go there, and then we break the block. As you can see, he takes damage, and that's gonna make for some pretty cool traps, I imagine. So we're gonna see how we can play with that. Actually, I need to test something real quickly, but I'm not gonna do that right now. We're gonna talk about that in a future episode. I have a very special episode containing many theories and stuff coming soon, probably, with the snapshot and all that. Anyways, next feature with the dripstone. So in a similar manner to how when dripstone falls on your head it does damage to you, falling onto a dripstone placed on the ground also does damage to you. So let me try that out real quickly, and oh, okay, I did not expect that. So have you seen right there, falling onto a dripstone in a similar manner to how dripstone falls on you and causes damage also does damage to you, but yeah, falling onto a dripstone causes significantly more damage, and that is where my next point comes in. It is this feature of it doing more damage is actually the opposite of a feature we already have. So as we know, falling on a hay bale, and I'm pretty sure slime bounces you. I'm pretty sure honey or just a couple more blocks makes it so you would take less fall damage. And the interesting bit is that the stalagmite has the opposite effect. So falling on it will actually do more damage than a normal fall. So if I fall normally, I only take 3 hearts of damage or 2 full hearts of damage. So, but falling on a dripstone makes me just straight up die, which is yeah, I didn't really expect that, because while testing it that didn't happen. I think it really depends on how big the dripstone is, but yeah, it's just something fun to mess around with. Quick little side note, dying to falling dripstone brings up the following message, which is a new one, which reads basically, username was squashed by a falling block. So That's another addition to a how to die map, maybe. I don't know, but it is what it is. And I also just found out that you can actually connect the stalactites and the stalagmites together to form this really, just subtle little thing that makes quite a bit of difference. So, yeah, you could also use this sort of feature to spruce up your builds if you're building with stalagmites or the dripstone in general. I'm not gonna even try to confuse myself with that. And that is pretty much all that the dripstone comes with in this snapshot. Now, next up, we have a couple of miscellaneous changes, which I'm going to cover really quickly in the next couple of minutes. So let's do that right now before we finish off the episode. First up, we have a couple of texture changes, starting with the amethyst. This is, I think, the second texture change that has happened. Of course, it's the second. This is like the third snapshot that came out for this update. It is not possible to have, yeah, like more texture changes. Anyways, this is what the new amethyst blocks look like, the amethyst block and the budding amethyst. Now, in my opinion, I think Mojang are going in a pretty good direction with the amethyst block. It's looking a lot more clean, less riggedy, and I think for the block of amethyst, they've done a pretty good job, and it looks perfect. But the budding amethyst, on the other hand, I think could do with a bit more smoothing out, like the thingy where the amethyst shards grow out of. It's just quite too, like, it just it doesn't feel right. But I guess I could imagine it inside of one of those amethyst geodes, where it would actually make sense, as in like a small little crack. But yeah, I think maybe just a tiny bit of tweaking could do the job. But all in all, Mojang are going in a pretty good direction for the texture of the amethyst. Next up, we have the texture for the compass, and the clock has actually changed, and the brand new spyglass. The spyglass now looks more 3D, and holding it is actually quite weird. Oh, that's actually a pretty cool way to hold the spyglass, but that's cool in a 5 mode. Holding it like this doesn't really feel right. And also, by the way, a texture change I haven't covered in the last snapshot is if we use the spyglass, we get the little cube spyglass thing, which makes more sense. And I guess it now makes even more sense with the brand new texture. As you can see, it's the spyglass itself is a lot more square, so it makes more sense. And I think I'm quite fond of this texture, to be fair, but the holding thing could be better, could have been done better, but I'm grateful for it. It looks cool, and that's what matters. I don't really think it is really necessary to change it, but if they want to change it, it could be for the better. I'm not really sure. Now, for the compass and for the clock, I can't really give my opinion for them. I kind of have mixed feelings for the clock, to be honest, especially with the color. And for the compass, I'm not really sure, to be fair. Like, I don't really care about it because I don't really see it that often. Actually, something I need to test out. What about the lodestone? So if I use a texture, yeah, it just has the same texture, just enchanted. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't really matter that much, to be honest. Not for me, at least. I think the texture is okay. Last texture change we have is the icon for the candle. It is now just singular instead of in a bundle, which I'm not really, you know, it's not the best thing to happen, but it is an alright feature. Like, they could do it and it wouldn't really affect it that much. It still looks pretty good, but I prefer it with the bundle, so it has like three candles next to each other. That's what I prefer, in my opinion. But all people have their own opinions, I guess. So yeah. And also, there has been a change to the candle. As we've seen in previous snapshots, we were able to place candles anywhere, like literally anywhere, even on air blocks, but that has been reverted. They can now only be placed on blocks, so you can't have voodoo magic of placing candles on top of other candles, or like candles on in the middle of the air floating. You can't have any of that, which is quite a sad feature. Then we have some changes to the bundles. So first of all, if you have F3 and H on, which is basically toggling advanced tooltips on, and open your inventory and hover over the bundle, you're going to be able to see how full the bundle is. So as you can see at the very bottom, you can see the fullness is 58 out of 64. So basically I have 58 items, and I can store 6 more items in the bundle to fill it up. And the way the bundles work in your inventory has actually changed. So if I right click the bundle, I will be able to get one of an item at a time, so I can individually empty it out, which I think is gonna be easier for us to control. Like, so if you're emptying out items from your bundle, it is easier for you to control what you take out and what you keep in. So from me, this feature gets a thumbs up. And if you have the bundle in your cursor and right click it on a slot in your inventory, it's gonna take out one item at a time as well. So yeah, it works in that manner now, which I'm pretty fond of. One last thing with the bundle, using it in game, like outside your inventory by right clicking it, what it basically does is basically throw out all the items. And this is the first time I actually tested it out, and that is more satisfying than I expected it to be. Hold on, let me try and put in all these items back in and then use it again. Wait, I want everything in. That's pretty satisfying, like throwing out everything at once. I don't know about you, but that satisfies me. If you remember, in the last snapshot, we covered a brand new effect that has been added into the game, which is the freezing effect, which is gotten from being inside powder snow for too long. And what it basically does is slowly but surely kills you due to freezing, basically. And in the last snapshot, we also found out that there is a way to block this effect, and that is by basically wearing a whole set of leather armor. In this snapshot, there has been a small change where you do not have to wear a full set, so you could maybe just wear the leather tunic, or maybe just wear the leather boots, and the whole effect goes away. You don't get the frozen thingies, and you do not get your frozen hearts down below. Last but not least, you can now toggle if you are able to take freezing damage by using the following command. If I use /game rule, what was it? Freeze damage, false. By doing that command, you will no longer take like freezing damage. If I go back to survival mode, I'm gonna stay in there. As you can see, I still get the freezing effect. I'm not wearing any leather armor, but I will not be taking the freeze damage anytime soon. So yeah, that's something you can do for map creators or people who do stuff with commands and stuff. So yeah, to prove my point, as you can see, my hearts are now have turned frozen, but I'm not taking any damage, and that doesn't have to do with me being in peaceful mode. I can be in hard mode and still not taking damage because the game rule is off. And that is everything in this snapshot covered. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like. Also consider subscribing, as that is greatly appreciated if you want to see more of this kind of content. And don't forget to follow my Instagram. For now, I'll see you guys in the next video. Farewell, lads.